Hey guys, it's Exa and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be working on another fun DIY house project, and I'm going to be refinishing these stairs here behind me. So I am going with an Art Deco theme for this basement. So for our handrails, we will be using those fancy like velvet rope dividers. So that's going to be really fun, and it's actually pretty cheap and easy to install those, as well as putting on the stair treads. So I've already painted the risers and the trim on them to a nice gray color to match with my basement, and painted the trim accents on this door here as well. So the treads for these are going to match this floor down here. I have some leftover pieces that happen to be exactly the right amount I need for my stairs. Now I did also already cut those to size for the stairs, and I didn't film that because honestly I just kind of forgot about it, but I'm sure you guys can figure out how to cut some treads. So once they are cut to fit, then all we have to do is secure them and then paint the little front edge on each one so it's gray to match the rest of the stairs. So let's go ahead and get started. So since the boards for my flooring were not as wide as my stairs, I ended up taking two pieces of the click-lock flooring and cutting them longwise so that way they still fit together and then they are the dimension that I need for my stair treads. Alright guys, so once you have your boards cut to the size that you need, it's going to be pretty simple. We're going to need some wood glue to help hold the surface down, and then we will use some finishing nails to help just secure these front edges so that way they stay firmly in place. Which means we're going to need a drill to help drill out our holes for our nails, just to make it easier to go through this laminate. So first I'm taking a healthy amount of my wood glue and placing that down all over the surface of the existing stair, and then firmly pressing those in place. Now also to help, since you are going to be constantly walking and sliding on these, I then went around all of the edges and put in some nails. So I'm just drilling out the holes for each one and then popping in my nails. You do want to make sure that you're getting a nice even distribution across the front, because that's where most of the weight is going to be and what's most likely going to want to like slide and move. So I did end up doing like 6 nails across the front sections here, and 1 in each of the corners on the back. And then anywhere that I had a seam along the boards like this, I put 1 nail on each end of each board to make sure that they're all going to be nice and secured. For ones like this that were the full length all the way across, I didn't need to put any extra nails in the seam, so I just stuck 1 in the middle on the back. So once you're finished with your first stair, you can go ahead and work on the next one, and just complete this same exact process 13 times until you have finished your entire set of stairs. And because they are being held down with nails as well as the glue, it's totally fine to walk on them right away. The glue will take a little bit to dry, but for just normal going up and down the stairs a couple times, you don't have to worry. You are not going to be trapped to one particular floor of your house while you wait for glue to dry. As you can see on the front edge here, you can tell that this is kind of a separate piece put on top, because it is a different color. So we're just going to paint this front edge here gray to help make it blend in. Now it's not going to look perfect, but then again, nothing about this staircase is exactly perfect, since they are just the janky old contractor stairs that were originally installed in my basement, and we're just trying to freshen them up a little bit. So you do want to be really careful when you're painting this that you're not getting any of the paint on the top of the tread, obviously, because that's the like pretty part and you want it to be a nice crisp edge. So if you don't entirely trust yourself to do this carefully, you can always mask off the front of it so that way you don't have to worry about getting any paint on it. But yeah, I just like to risk fate and not mask things. So now that you're done, your stairs are going to be super duper durable because it is laminate and not real wood, and honestly I think it looks really nice and put together. So to make a kind of railing on the far side where it opens into the basement, I'm just using these little paracord hook loop things and attaching them to the ceiling and the railing there all the way up, and then just running some regular old cord through them. So first we're going to mark where we want to drill our holes in here, and since this baseboard is wood, I am going to be pre-drilling my holes just to make it easier for me to hand screw them in. So we can go ahead and drill where all of our marked holes are And then we will hand screw our little hinge thingies in place. So the placement for these is completely up to you, but I decided to make them centered along that board that runs up vertically and then make them all a foot apart in spacing. But you can totally eyeball this too, or like come up with some crazy pattern and make it really organic looking, and that would be totally awesome as well. So now the tricky part is we're going to also attach ones onto the ceiling. And for the spacing of these, I want them to be centered over top of the spacing for where the bottom ones are, so we can make like those nice like triangles going up and down with our ribbon. Definitely take your time when you are marking these out and deciding on the placement for this, because you know, if you have to move one, then obviously you're going to have a hole in your ceiling and it's just not going to look pretty. So once you have all of your little hooks attached, you can go ahead and thread your string through. So first I just tied a knot on the end of it here, so that way it would hold the front end tight. And then you can just kind of weave it through all of them in whatever pattern that you decide that you like. And once you have all of your loops threaded through, then you can just go ahead and tie a knot on each end and kind of, you know, pull it as tight as you can or as loose as you'd like to just finish off and hold everything in place. Okay guys, so for the handrail, I actually just got some of these like rope divider thingies off of Amazon with the little clips on the end. And then I got some handrail holding metal brass loop things that are a little bigger than them that fit over it like so we can attach them to the wall. So I just completely eyeballed this, and for the ends on each one, since they have those little clippy things, I used the same loops that I used on the other stair railing thing. And then for these middle ones, I'm just, again, screwing in these loops onto the wall and then running the cord through them. And it's completely up to you if you want to have like slack in the rope so they kind of droop, or if you want them completely taut or not. I just kind of picked random placements for the first one and then saw like how much drape I liked and then used that as kind of a guide for where to put the next one. And I ended up having 2 of these ropes to go the full length of my staircase. And if you saw me measuring from the bottom of the stair up vertically, also sorry that this video is like super crappy for this section. Yeah, I don't have an excuse. But anyway, if you saw me measuring it, I did want to make sure that my handrails were kind of evenly spaced about 3 feet from the tread, because that just felt like a good hand height for me. But obviously you can make them higher or lower depending if you're really tall or have small kids or whatever. And that is the advantage of doing DIY projects. So once you see the first one is placed, I'm just going to put the second one obviously next to it to just continue up the length of my stairs. Okay, so as you can see for this first one, I just used one of these same little hooks, and then I can just clip the end of my little cord banister into it. And then if we keep going to the next one, these are secured in the wall, and it's just kind of looped through and like a little loose. One thing to note, do make sure you're using long screws and placing these where studs are if you're planning on making this like a supportive handrail. So this one has 2-inch screws in all of these, and they're going into the studs in the wall. Just make sure they're extra secure and they're not going to go anywhere in case someone does, you know, need to lean their weight on these prongs. Mine, since it is loose, I wouldn't recommend really putting weight on the ribbon part. It's kind of more decorative, but you know, I don't really have anyone over that needs like super support the whole way down, so just being able to like grab one and then grab the next one seems to work enough for my family. And for the middle section, because these are a little wider than those small loops where I did end up just attaching them into another one of these big prongs here, which I don't know, I think it looks fine, but you know, you could just get a bigger loop thing along the wall if you wanted. Other useful thing with having these stick out away from the wall, if you have any like chair rail molding or anything like this, you know, you have some space to be able to put your hand on and it's not like super close. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed this fun house DIY project. It was super easy and it was pretty darn affordable. The ropes here was a 2-pack for $20. The hooks were like $30, I think. And then these small hooks were another $20 for all of them and about $15 for the rope going through them. So super affordable project, pretty quick and easy to do. I'm low-key kind of mad at myself that I literally sat here with ugly stairs for like a year and a half before I actually bothered to do the project, but it came out great and I am so excited that my basement is finally coming together. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so you can see the finished design, and I'll go through all of the fun stuff that I'm planning down here. Yeah, so until next time, I hope your day and your staircase are as beautiful as you are.